Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another breakdown. So today is Wednesday, October 29, and it is, I think it's about 8 a.m. Eastern time. So right at the beginning of New York session. Let's begin by looking at the trades that we took this week. GBP NZD, we executed on Monday around the same time. As you can see, price since then has not returned back to the area, and it did close. So price actually went bearish on the daily time frame. The weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bearish, and the 4-hour time frame is also bearish now. So that is something for us to consider. We're underneath the daily EMA. So now my sentiment has kind of shifted. The weekly time frame is still bullish, so that doesn't really change. But we did break through this pretty large area of interest, and it seems like we're on our way to the next area of interest, which could be right here. So that being said, what I would consider doing is waiting for a retest of the EMA, waiting for a retest of the previous structure, and then trying to sell into this area of interest down here. I think that's the best option. It is a bit of a counter trend trade. I usually prefer to trade with the weekly time frame, with the monthly time frame, all of the higher time frames. But this month is almost over, so we have 2 days and 9 hours left. And my thought is going to be this. So this month, we're going to close with a bearish engulfing candle. Next month, we're going to open and we're going to push up, and then we're going to push down into this previous structure. So overall, we're still probably going to continue to go to the upside, but I do believe that this is going to be more of a short-term pullback into this area of interest before then we can continue pushing higher. So that's what I'm going to be looking for now. Daily time frame has officially shifted bearish. 4-hour time frame is bearish from right here down to here. So 4-hour time frame will probably go bullish for a little bit. We might create a double top and then break below, retest, and sell. So we'll have a shift to structure on the 4-hour time frame, confirming that we're actually going to continue to sell. And around that time, the EMA will also catch up. We might go above for a little bit, and then we'll break back below, retest, and continue to the downside. So that is what I'm going to be expecting to see on GBP NZD. Wow, that rhymed. Anyways, I am going to be looking for sells now. Next is USD-CHF. USD-CHF, I'm still drawing. USD-CHF on the weekly time frame is bearish. So we have created a little elbow here. Daily time frame has created a head and shoulders pattern. We're still underneath the daily EMA. We're still bearish on the daily time frame. So sells are still the best option, but the 4-hour time frame has now gone bullish since we broke above this structure point. And we got wicked out of this trade yesterday. I think during the call, like while we were doing this call, we got wicked out, price then sold. I considered entering again. So this was, I think, last week we took a loss, and then this week we took a loss on USD-CHF. But this time I was a bit more patient, and we had a larger stop loss as well. But that didn't matter. Price was going to hit our stop loss no matter how we took this trade. So that's unfortunate. Can't do anything about that. Let's remove these alarms. Now we're just going to wait for the same thing. We're going to wait for price to make it up to either, well, we're already at this area of interest, but I feel like we might actually push up into this area of interest, create the full shoulder, head, shoulder, and then actually reject, break below, and then sell. So what we'll be waiting for is for price to push up to here. By that time, we'll probably end up having the EMA hold price up a little bit, something like this. And then at a certain point, price will again break below. And then that's when we'll consider taking entries. Until then, I'm not really interested in trading USD CHF. Anything buying would be counter trend, very risky. Your buys would be limited to this daily EMA and to this area of interest. So weekly time frame is bearish, monthly time frame is bearish. It is risky. Now, let's say for some reason this week closes and the weekly time frame is all the way up here. Well, then it's a different story. The weekly time frame will have shifted bullish. The daily time frame will be bearish, but the 4-hour time frame will be bullish. So at that point, say we close up here, I'll look for a pullback to buy. Okay. It's that simple. We'll adapt to the markets as the markets move. But yeah, as of right now, nothing crazy here. Just going to wait for the pullback to potentially continue to sell with the weekly time frame. NZD USD. NZD USD is a trade that we took at the same time yesterday, at the same time as USD CHF. Now, I was a little skeptical because we're selling this USD pair and we're selling this USD pair, but if one of these goes down, the other one should go up. That's what I was thinking. So when I saw the initial reaction here, first of all, this was a very, very early entry. I'll admit that. Ideally, we'd be selling underneath the 4-hour EMA. As I've said so many times in the past, we're waiting for the break and retest. So if price had actually done that, if we were down here, well, we could have avoided this loss completely. So we didn't wait for price to break below, so we took the loss. But the loss was very, very small. It was only, say we risked $1,000, it was only a $200 loss. Because as soon as price broke back above this area, I closed at 0.577. So I saw the engulfing, I saw the push up, and I closed. So yeah, we avoided taking the full loss on this one, but regardless, it was a loss nevertheless. So what are we looking for here? Still looking for the same thing. Price is still retesting the structure point. On the weekly time frame, we're underneath the weekly EMA. Yes, we're above the 4-hour EMA. We're supposed to be looking at daily. Okay, so the daily time frame is bearish. Still very, very clean market structure. I mean, realistically, how do we do this? Let's say we take this, pull back, sell, pull back, or here, I like this. Sell, pull back, sell. Okay, so if we move this down, we're almost at the same spot as we were in terms of the pullback. So this pullback could literally end at any point, and that's exactly what we're waiting for. We're waiting for price to finally have sellers push this market to the point where we're trading underneath the 4-hour EMA. And then as soon as we're underneath, price will probably not break back above. So we're waiting for price to break underneath, then we're waiting for some kind of little pullback here. The pullback was literally this blue candle. It wasn't huge. It was on the 30-minute time frame, I believe. Yes, it was a 30-minute pullback. Your entry could have been anywhere within this area. I chose to enter pretty early. I didn't really wait for an engulfing candle, but you could have waited for this engulfing candle or this engulfing candle, or even, something within this area here. Obviously not that candle, but you guys get the general idea. And then the stop loss is both above the 4-hour EMA. So it's above the 4-hour EMA. If price does decide to come back, retest previous structure to sell. And it's also above the 30-minute EMA. As you can see, as soon as we broke below the 30-minute EMA, we retested, sold very nicely. So same exact thing I'm waiting for here. What could happen is we could close with a doji candle today, or we could close with an engulfing candle today. Preferably an engulfing candle. I think if we close with an engulfing candle somewhere right here, then tomorrow we could catch a nice trade on the candlestick wick. And then you could probably sell for multiple days. I mean, price usually sells for 1, 2, 3 days, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 days before having a pullback, 1, 2, 3 days. So yeah, it could be a nice hold for quite a while. Still going to be waiting for that. This is honestly my top pair for this week. Still. NZD USD. So next is CAD JPY. So those were the pairs that we had traded, and that's what I expect from them moving forward. Actually, let's go to Bitcoin and the others. So Bitcoin had a reaction from the daily EMA from this area of interest and is seeming to it seems like it's going to be reacting from the 4-hour EMA and potentially pushing higher. Obviously, Bitcoin can do whatever it wants. We did technically break underneath this daily EMA, so this could just be a retest to continue to sell. Yeah, SPX, NAS, US30, all at the highest point right now. Most likely just going to be creating higher highs on the 4-hour time frames. This one has a small higher low, then there's a higher high, and same thing with this. So no pullbacks for me, no real trades. NASDAQ, you have to use a different, like you have to use a different strategy to be trading these pairs. Or you have to use the same strategy, but on a much lower time frame. So instead of using weekly, daily, 4-hour, say you use 1 hour, 30-minute, 5-minute, So in this case, the 1 hour is bullish, the 30-minute is bearish, and the 15-minute or whatever, the 5-minute is bullish. So right now you'd still be looking for buys, if that makes sense. Gold on a weekly time frame, starting to have that reaction to the upside from the EMA. So we had a doji. Now we're going to potentially close with a bullish engulfing on the daily time frame. Now the daily did shift bearish. Yesterday we closed with this bearish candle, so we're bearish from right here down to here. 4-hour time frame, still below the EMA. 2-hour time frame is touching the 2-hour EMA. Now you'll notice this is going to be a very, very major part of what price is going to do. If we break above the 2-hour EMA, we might be back onto buys and price might recover and hit all-time highs again. Now, this is the point where we might actually get a reaction from the 2-hour EMA and continue to make those lower lows. So keep an eye on what it might do. We might break below shortly. Like let's say if we were to break below by this much or just by a little bit, we might be retesting the previous structure and then reject and continue to sell. So that's what I'm thinking for gold. Chances are that we'll continue to sell simply because we are retesting this little area of interest right here. Not much of an area of interest, but it is a previous structure. And we are still underneath the 4-hour EMA, the 2-hour EMA, daily time frame just shifted bearish, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So lots of selling pressure and confluences. Dollar index weekly time frame has come back into the little area of interest to potentially push higher. We're above the daily EMA. We're bullish on the daily time frame. 4-hour time frame is currently bearish. We're bearish from right here down to here, but we're breaking above the 4-hour EMA, so we'll probably continue to push higher. I'm guessing that this is good for the dollar. This is good for the US dollar. Since I remember this was 2025, January. Yeah, so since January, this entire year has just been bearish for the US dollar. Now we are in a position like this. If we zoom out, we're in this position right now. Like this is exactly where we are. We could just go on a nice rally from here. Price could just push up through. I mean, it almost looks exactly the same. Hold up. We have price pushed up, pulled back, pushed up lower, pulled back, messed around, whatnot, and then went on this push. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but you guys get it. We're kind of in the same position right now. So we've created this like weird double top looking pattern, sold below the EMA, and then we went on a nice push up. Now, what do you notice here? Here, price actually went lower and then went lower and then pushed higher. So we could still have two pushes to the downside before we have any buyers coming into that, investing into the US dollar. All right, now into the good stuff. The pairs we were interested in trading, CAD JPY for starters. CAD JPY is bullish on the weekly time frame, bullish on the daily time frame, and both last week and this week I had waited for, or I was waiting for price to pull back into this area of interest. That's exactly what it did. Retested the EMA, retested the area of interest, and once again, I was unable to enter this trade. I missed out. 4-hour time frame retested nicely, bullish engulfing, and then price just took off. So we were right about that, but I don't think that we're going to be able to catch any trades here. Now we're trading above this time frame, trading above the 1 hour, and similar to this, we were below, then we broke above, retested, and now we're buying. Probably the same exact thing. We were below, broke above, retested, retest, and then buy. So we're probably just going to continue on trading upwards as all of the time frames have been doing. Weekly time frame, daily time frame, 4-hour time frame. But we are currently bearish on the 4-hour time frame from right here to here. So I wouldn't worry about that too much simply because the weekly and the daily are currently pushing up. CHF JPY, weekly time frame bullish, daily time frame starting to have a pullback. Now we do have this previous structure right here, I guess with these wicks. Price has tapped into this wick right here. Daily time frames bullish. Let's see. Daily time frames bullish from here to here. 4-hour time frame is retesting the EMA. Usually trades above the EMA pretty consistently. But yeah, I don't know. Here, price is at an all-time high. Like we're currently pushing highs like we've never pushed before. And this is because it's a CHF pair. So most CHF pairs right now are having a pullback. So if we go to USD CHF is at all-time lows because CHF is the second pair. Here, CHF is the first pair, opposite. We're at all-time highs. What is USD CHF doing? It's having a pullback. What is CHF JPY doing? It's having a pullback. So I do expect a continuation, but I also don't know when this pullback is going to end. I would prefer to see a deeper pullback. But with the way things have been moving, that almost seems a little bit unlikely. Yeah, last time we had 2 candlestick pullbacks and then we had continuation for like 2 weeks. So if we see a bullish candle forming after this, closing after this, then we might just have to hop in some buys and continue trading this to the upside. This is 4-hour time frame shifted bearish. So the 4-hour time frame is bearish. Same thing here. 4-hour time frame shifted bearish, lower low, lower low, lower low. Shift the structure, higher high. Yes, we did go bearish right here, but we're still above the EMA. So I would just look for that initial shift to structure. If you want to take your trade right here, make sure your stop loss is underneath the first um the first what would it be? Higher low, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Yeah, so it'd be above the first higher low. So for this example, it would look like this. Price shifts, or rather, it doesn't shift right away. It does this, 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 and then we shift, and then we pull back, and then this is where you enter, and then this is your stop loss. And then I don't know where you're going to target. You know, what are you going to target? This structure right here for a 1-to-1? It doesn't really make much sense. So just not going to be interested in that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that when I put it on our watch list. We have nothing to target. It's just, and it's not like we're having super solid moves to the upside. They're pretty choppy. Like they're kind of scary to be in. Like if you entered here, you'd the entire time you'd be, you know, is it going to turn around? Is it going to continue to go up? Not my favorite. Euro GBP. Euro GBP has taken off without us. It never came back into our previous structures. I mean, I'm just going to continue to wait for it here. I'm just going to continue to wait for it here. At some point, we're going to have a pullback. It might have to be a weekly pullback now that I look at it. In fact, that would be amazing to see. A couple of weekly candles like this. 1, 2, 3 weekly candles. 1, 2, 3 weekly candles, and then a nice push up to the upside. That's usually how long the pullbacks take. 1, 2, 3 weeks. At the very minimum, 3 weeks. So this could be a trade we look to take in closer to December. But as of right now, there's nothing to trade here. There's nothing to trade on Euro GBP. We missed our trade. Our trade was right here. And I even mentioned it during one of the calls when I saw this higher high. I said, chances are we're going to pull back into previous structure and then buy. But I really wanted to see a quick little push up, a quick little pullback, and then a continuation. So obviously things didn't line up for us, and we missed out. USD CAD. USD CAD weekly time frames bullish, daily time frame bullish from here to here. Now, if this candle closes like so, we will go bearish on the daily time frame. One thing to note is that we are about to retest this daily EMA. Daily EMA could help price continue on upwards. 4-hour time frame had a huge drop, and now we're creating what seems to be a 2-hour double top, but also it could be a 4-hour double bottom. If this candle closes like so, and then the next candle pushes up, we will have 1, 2, so a double bottom on the 4-hour time frame, maybe a break above this neckline, retest to buy. That could be a potential trade. At that point, the 4-hour time frame will go bullish. So we'll be bullish from, we're currently bearish from here to here. But if we close slightly below, then we will be bearish from here to here. And then the shift of structure would happen like this, the pullback, and then the continuation. Now, the reason I'm even interested in this is because obviously the weekly time frame is pushing up. We're above the weekly EMA. We're above this area of interest, or we did break above the area of interest, and now we're pulling back into the area of interest. Not a terrible trade. Now, it would suck if this daily time frame went bearish, but overall, we're above the monthly EMA. We are above this huge, I guess we're kind of inside of this huge area of interest right here. I guess that's an option for where price might head to next. If we break through this area and the daily time frame goes bearish and the 4-hour time frame stays bearish, then I mean, it would be best to take sells with price with the 4-hour EMA, and take buys with the 4-hour EMA as well. Price does follow this 4-hour EMA quite nicely. So that being said, we might be having a deeper pullback on this weekly time frame. That might be what's happening. We could be creating a head and shoulders pattern. So we have a shoulder, head, shoulder, and then continue on up. Something to pay attention to and watch. So honestly, probably won't be too interested in trading this at the moment. I was waiting for price to actually break above and retest, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen. If we do break above the 15 or the 30-minute EMA, price does like to retest to buy. Same thing here, broke above, retest, buy. So that might be something we could maybe capitalize off of, break above, retest, buy. But you would only be able to buy as far as the 4-hour EMA or these structures right here. So if you want to take buys, you could take them into here. And then after that, I would brace myself for potential sells. That might be what happens on the daily time frame. If the daily time frame goes bearish right here, we might have a pullback into this area before then we sell back down to here. So that's kind of what we might have to expect from that. So as of right now, I'm just going to continue to watch. This is more a learning type of a trade rather than a trading type of a trade. Because ideally, as you can see, most of my good wins on this pair happen with the 4-hour time frame. So if you're trading against the 4-hour time frame, yes, you can catch a few moves. They'll be much smaller. But if you trade with the 4-hour time frame, they usually end up being much larger, much cleaner, and easier to catch. That was unfortunate. Anyways, that's kind of it for USD CAD. I'm probably going to take it off my watch list. We'll just continue analyzing it every day. All right, next is Euro NZD. Or did we already go over this one? Euro NZD weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish. We have reached an area where the EMA seems to be pushing price up. We had a nice rejection on the 4-hour time frame. Now the 4-hour time frame has a chance of shifting bullish. Ideally, I think I'm still going to be waiting for price to break above and retest this area right here, above the EMA, above the area of interest, to trade with the overall higher time frames. Monthly time frame very bullish, daily time frame very bullish, 4-hour time or weekly time frame very bullish, daily time frame also bullish. All we're waiting for is that 4-hour time frame to shift bullish again, and then we can take a nice trade into the daily structure right here. So this would be our target. Okay. Solid. I'm still going to be watching this one. AUDCHF. AUDCHF. We've left quite a wick here. Whoops. I'm back. Yeah, so we've left quite the wick on. Did I take a trade? Oh, yeah, I did. This was last week. Interesting. Not last week, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we've entered an area where there's quite some reaction. Um, we got nice sells, and now price is pushing up, similar to the way it did over here. But here we had pullbacks. Like there was no, this is just straight blue candles. Monthly time frame, very bearish. Can I not remove that? Yeah, I can. Okay, so something to notice. We've left quite a wick here. Now when I see wicks like this, I usually think, okay, these type of wicks need to get filled, and eventually they do. Now the only issue is this wick happened on a monthly time frame. So on a monthly time frame, it could take, like here, it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So we know that price is going to continue going down. The only problem is it could take a while for it to do that. So monthly time frame, very bearish. We left a huge wick. Month has 2 days left in it. Weekly time frame, 2 days. Yeah, 2 days. Weekly time frame is bearish. Even in terms of internal structure, say here we had a higher high, then we shifted bearish. So we're still bearish from right here down to here. Now we are starting to press above that. It's interesting that this week opened with no bottom wick on AUD CHF. Zero bottom wick there. We just opened and went directly upwards. And I think that happened across a lot of AUD pairs, if I'm not mistaken. No, this one has a wick. Maybe some AUD pairs. Yeah, AUD CAD doesn't have a wick either. So that's interesting to see. Definitely some kind of a news event. Weekly time frame, bearish, daily time frame. Broke above the EMA, broke above the area of interest. Still bearish on the daily time frame, though. Still bearish on the daily time frame. 4-hour time frame, very bullish. I mean, I'm not interested. I mean, I'm not interested until price is able to, one, shift bearish on the 4-hour time frame. Like this is a perfect example. Like it's hard to trade this when price looks like this, right? But when this happens, when we have a clear sell, and then we have a clear pullback into the EMA, and then we have a clear reaction, this is when we can take amazing trades. That's what I'm going to be looking for again. I'm going to look for the sellers to show themselves. Then I'm going to wait for the buyers to recover, and then I'm going to take the sells again. Okay. It's that simple. It looked better yesterday. Obviously, we've had an entire day of continuation to the upside since we last spoke, but that's still going to be the game plan. It's going to be waiting for price to show its hand. Then we're going to wait for the recovery, and then we're going to hop in on the next move to the downside. As of right now, I'm not too interested. It's not going to happen today. That's for sure. There's no way that we get, unless we have news events, which calendar Wednesday, today's Thursday. CAD, USD, CAD, USD, JPY, Euro. Yeah, there's nothing that I'm seeing for AUD. And there's nothing I'm seeing for CHF either. So we're just going to stay away from this one. Same exact thing on this one. AUD and NZD, US or CHF, almost the exact same thing. Weekly time frames very bearish. I think that we might be on our way to this previous structure. That was the last time we were able to get good sellers. But I will note that we are at this previous daily structure. This is the last time that we had a clean move to the downside. You can see how nicely we retested the previous daily structure perfectly, and then we sold. Now, this one didn't come all the way back to the previous daily structure, and we left a gap. So there's a chance that this here ends up filling in this gap, retesting the previous daily structure the way it was supposed to, or we might just get the continuation immediately from where we are right now. In that case, AUDCHF and NZDCHF would both have the move to the downside. But I wouldn't really be interested in taking the trade once again until we confirmed that the 4-hour time frame is going to go bearish, which means we have to break underneath this structure point right here. Okay, so the 4-hour time frame is bullish from right here up to here. And then we need to retest and then continue to sell. So lower low, lower high, next lower low. This one to me looks much cleaner than AUDCHF. The EMA is much smoother. Price is kind of just trading above it slightly. Whereas right here, we've actually accelerated and we're trading quite far away from the EMA. Now, we've been in situations like this before where we were below, then we broke above, and we just took off to the upside. All it took was one move to the downside, and then we're able to take a trade, even if it's not too large. It is a safer trade than trying to predict what price is going to do. That's what I tried to do on NZD USD, and ended up paying the price for that right there. But yeah, I'm going to take this one off the list, and I'm going to leave NZD CHF just in case today or tomorrow we end up getting a bearish engulfing candle. After a bearish engulfing candle, there's a chance that price has a pullback candle, or we might just get the continuation similar to the way we did here. So two options. Option A is going to look like this: bearish engulfing candle, pullback candle, selling candle. Or option B is going to look like this: bearish engulfing candle, and then continuation. Now, even on option B, you can see this little doji. That's the pullback candle. Oh my gosh, twice in one day. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Still a great trade. I do like the previous structure being retested. In terms of the area of interest, this one can be changed however you'd like. There's a lot of, this is a 4-hour area of interest. This is not daily. This is not weekly. This is simply for gauging what price looks like and where it might retrace to before having the next push to the downside. EuroCAD weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish. Now, if we close like this, then there's a chance that we're creating a head and shoulders pattern. Although it might be ugly, it is still a head and shoulders pattern. This one, I think we got a little bit fortunate on. I ended up closing this trade early last week. Yeah, on Friday. I ended up closing early because it was the end of the week and we had the very, very strong pullback, potential re-entry, and then price completely turned around. Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. But now we have an opportunity to take sells on this pair. Very, very clean sells, as a matter of fact. If the daily time frame goes bearish, which it's about to, we will be breaking underneath the daily EMA. Price will probably react from this area, but it should pull back into both the daily and the 4-hour previous structure, which will also be in line with the 4-hour EMA. So price should react from here, have a nice slow pullback, reaction to the downside. The only question is, where are we going to be targeting? Most likely, I mean, if things are going as they're going, which it seems like they are, it might be a little bit of a deeper pullback. It might be, I mean, I don't know. We might be going from trending upwards like this to trending sideways a little bit more above the EMA, directly touching this EMA. So obviously we can't predict or be able to tell exactly if that's happening, but that seems to be what price might be trying to do. So on the weekly time frame, we're bullish, but on the daily, we're about to go bearish, and on the 4 hour, we're already bearish. It just makes sense that we would be able to take some kind of sells into potentially, I mean, if this is a daily EMA or a daily area of interest, we have one, two, if you want to count this, you can, three structure points right here. Yeah, something like this. Daily area of interest, pull back. I would probably target this structure point right here. I wouldn't go too far because we could just be creating a nice large area of reaction right here. As you can see, we have some strong wicks that pushed price all the way up to here. So that's kind of what I would probably expect price to do. Pull back into the daily area of interest and then sell into right here. So we can even get rid of this since price is no longer respecting that. So we have two time frames in sync. We will have a few other things. Round psychological level at 1625, area of interest, etc., etc., etc. So very, very nice setup over here if price can give us that pullback. And that is on the 4 hour time frame. I could see that happening. I could see that happening sometime this week. But first and foremost, the daily time frame has to close bearish, right? So we have to wait for the next 8 hours. We have to wait for price to close below this structure point right there. And then it would take one, two. Okay, so this is not going to happen this week. I lied. I'm a liar. It's going to happen probably next week because it's going to take 1 day to close, and we have what, Thursday, Friday? Yeah, at the very minimum, it's going to take 2 days to pull back. So Thursday, Friday, next week we open. Monday's a doji. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we sell. That's kind of what I'm thinking. All right. EuroCAD. We went over this. GBP CHF. GBP CHF. Weekly time frame, very bearish. Daily time frame, also very bearish. We closed with a structure point right here. So now we have a lower high, lower low. We are currently nearing all-time lows. These are all-time lows right now, but we're on our way. We're on our way there. Trading with the monthly, trading with the weekly, and trading with the daily time frames. One thing I will note, trading on, here's just like a little, I don't know what you'd call it, a tip, I guess. When you have one of my favorite things to do, and it doesn't work every single time, but it does work quite often, is, and this is why people love engulfing candles, because it's almost guaranteed that the next candle you'll get will just create the wick upwards. Usually, almost never, I mean, it almost never engulfs the previous candle completely. So for this example, this candle, okay? So we had a bearish engulfing monthly candle. Next month, this candle created the wick inside of its body and then sold. So all you have to do is you have to find where that pullback will end and then just catch your entry there, and you're guaranteed at least, you know, until the next candle. I don't know if that makes sense, but let's see if we can find another example. See, this is not this. This is an example where it didn't work. You have your bearish engulfing candle, and then the next candle opened no wick. But this is a good example. Bearish engulfing. You could caught on the wick. Weekly candle. Weekly pullback. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this right here was your pullback on the weekly time frame, daily time frame, and then you just wait for that continuation and you enter on the wick of the monthly candle. You can hold for almost an entire month at that point, for multiple days, regardless of what market structure looks like. You know that price is likely to continue in your direction. But like I said, it doesn't always work. And the reason it doesn't always work is because there are times where you have your engulfing candle and then the next candle ends up being a pullback candle. That's when it usually won't work. Um, so yeah, here's another example. Engulfing, pullback candle, continuation. Okay, so why am I saying that? Um, because I felt like it was a good time to explain that. All we're waiting for right now is the pullback. This isn't much of an engulfing candle. It doesn't engulf anything. The previous one was, but that being said, we just need price to retest a previous structure before we have a kind of continuation. So it does it every single time. We have sells, retest, previous structure, sold, retest of these wicks, previous structure, sold, retest of these wicks, previous structure. Okay. So when price makes it back, it could take a week or two to pull back, just like it did right here. But once that happens, you should get that nice continuation to the downside. And that's all we are waiting for. CAD CHF seems to be on the same path. We've had a nice push to the downside. We had our engulfing candle, continuation candle. Now all we're waiting on is the pullback. And the pullback has already started. Pullback has already started. Or like mid pullback right now. This was the previous structure on the daily time frame. I thought that there was going to be a continuation from here. And since we were waiting for price to break and retest underneath the EMA, we avoided the loss. Okay. Now on this pair, it's a lot less consistent. Like the 4 hour EMA, price is above, then it's below, then it's above, then it's below. But the daily time frame is a lot more consistent. You can see how we kind of just float towards the EMA and then we react, pull back, react, pull back, react. Price looks like it's about to break above. Like with the amount of momentum that we have, I don't really see that happening very often. But I guess price did pull up into the EMA quite aggressively, and then we still had the reaction to the downside. So that is something to consider once we reach this EMA. If we get a reaction candle to the downside, then all we have to wait for is price to sell, give us another pullback, and then continue. It does this every single time. Look at this, right? We sell, we pull back, we sell, we pull back, we sell. Okay. What happens? We sell, we pull back. Obviously, it's not the same every time, but we have the reaction, then we have another pullback, and then we actually have the continuation. So now that's what we'd wait for. We wait for a price to sell, pull back, react to the downside, pull back even more, and then have the reaction to the downside once again. And then this would be a nice place for us to take that trade. CAD CHF. Other than that, there's nothing more to say. There's nothing to trade. We're just waiting for price action to show its hand. GBP USD. GBP USD. Weekly time frame is bearish. We are about to close with a lower low finally, which would mean that we are bearish from right here down to here. We are in an area where, oh, well, this completely kind of changes things. So, excuse me, last month. So here, what do you see? I see price engulfed. we had the pullback candle, we had a doji, we have a continuation. Realistically, I think that we're just going to pull back next month and then have another continuation. Like, we're in an area where price pulls back for a lot. It pulls back for a lot, and it pulls back. So we're above, pulls back for a lot. What am I saying? It has a bigger pullback than what we might be ready for. So we're above the EMA. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles that sold. So here we're above the EMA. We sold. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. All I'm trying to say is that I think that we're going to reach this monthly EMA. We have somewhat of an area of interest here. And I know that's far away, but we're already starting to see that price is doing this. It's starting to create bearish market structure. We're still above the weekly EMA. So that's kind of a little bit concerning. As you can see, when we're above, price reacts. We're above, price reacts. We kind of break below, we still react. Then we finally break below, we pull back, and now we're actually trading underneath the weekly EMA. So there could be reactions to the upside. Like, we could still bounce around in here, but I do think eventually we'll break below, retest, and continue to sell, which is why I'm interested in selling GBP USD. Daily time frame is bearish. We have created a lower low. Realistically, previous structure is where price would return to, and that would be somewhere around this area. We have this previous structure and this previous structure, and also, I guess, this one right here. This is no longer needed. I don't think we're going to pull back like all the way up to here, although that could happen. I think that I'm just going to focus on price as it stands. So waiting for a pullback to previous structure to sell. And that's about it for this one. 4-hour time frame is bearish from right here down to here. Lower low, lower high, lower low. Euro USD weekly time frame. Very bullish. Looks like we're slowing down, turning around. Daily time frame shifted underneath. Okay, so this is looking really good. Daily time frame. We're underneath the EMA. We are starting to react from the EMA. We have a bearish engulfing candle that is forming. 4-hour time frame has created a double top. We shifted. We're pulling back into previous structure, reacting underneath the EMA. Pulled back very nicely underneath the 30-minute time frame. And yeah, I do think that price will have a continuation here. Weekly time frame will probably fill in some of these wicks. What does that mean for NZD USD? Yeah, NZD USD is doing something similar right now, breaking below the 30-minute. But we were in the same position before, and we got a little bit excited and got in a little bit too early. On this one, however, we did finally break below the EMA. We're doing this right now. So we've created market structure up here. We're breaking below, retesting, and selling. Created market structure up here, breaking below, retesting, and selling. If you want proper confirmation, you wait for the engulfing candlestick that will happen in the next 4 hours and 2 minutes. And then that would be your confirmation that price has fully retested and rejected this area. Then you enter here. If you want a proper stop loss, I mean, it would be huge. Your stop loss would have to be a little bit riskier, maybe above this 1-hour structure. And then, targeting for a 1 to 2 right underneath these equal lows, which would be profit, the main target for price. So Euro USD, I am interested in. GBP USD, I'm not interested in. We're on our way to, we're at a lower low. Onto the JPY pairs. NZD JPY is bullish. Daily time frame is bullish. So we do have this reaction candle in an area where we've seen many reversals happen before. And to me, that means that price could be slowing down or turning around. However, we are still above the EMA. We are still bullish on the daily time frame, weekly time frame. The only thing that is bearish is currently the 4-hour time frame. But we are seeming to be creating a double bottom right here. And with this double bottom, all we would need is price to break above the neckline, retest, and continue on up. That would mean that the 4-hour time frame is bullish alongside the other time frames. And then we would get that continuation at the very minimum to right here. Am I interested? Not really. Euro JPY weekly time frames bullish, having a pullback, daily time frames bullish, from right here up to here, having a pullback, 4-hour time frame, reacting from this 4-hour EMA. It looks like it might be rejecting the previous structure. We're underneath the 2-hour EMA. Underneath the 2-hour, underneath the 1-hour, underneath the 30-minute. So ideally, it would be the same thing, waiting for confirmation that the buyers are back in control, retest of this structure, and then continue to buy. Not really interested. USD JPY weekly time frame is bullish, daily time frame is bullish, and 4-hour time frame is currently bullish. Okay, so this one has already had the lower low, higher high. We're waiting for the higher low, which seems to be happening right now. We have the first, wow, excuse me. We have the very first red candle. So a good way to know if a pullback has started is you just wait for the first red candle. After that, that's when you start to wait for the shift the structure on the lower time frame. So for example, here, the 15-minute is bullish from right here up to here, but I would pay attention to the internal structure, and we'll call this the higher high, and then we shifted bearish. So now we're just waiting for the actual pullback, shift the structure, engulfing, and continuation. So USD JPY, I am actually interested, but I want to see proper lower time frame confirmations. Why do I still have CAD JPY? Yeah, I'm not too interested in CAD JPY, but this is looking promising for USD JPY. All right, weekly time frame on GBP JPY is bullish. Now, GBP JPY is falling quite aggressively simply because GBP has been falling. If we look across the board, GBP is the second pair, so price is flying. GBP is the first pair, so price is falling. And same thing here, GBP is falling. So GBP has gotten weaker, I believe. Yeah, GBP has gotten a little bit weaker. Daily time frame is bullish. Seems like we created a double top. 4-hour time frame is bearish. Weekly time frame is bullish. So we have 2 time frames in sync to buy, but we are underneath the 4-hour EMA. In a perfect world, I would wait for something like this. Structures even look similar where we were above the EMA, we sold down to here, pull back, sell, shift the structure, pull back, huge buy. Okay, so kind of similar, but not exactly. We're waiting for a shift the structure. It is going to be risky considering that we're underneath the EMA, but I do expect a continuation to potentially happen. And that could happen if we get some good maybe news events to support this move. We have finally reached its previous structure, so that's good to see. I will keep an eye on this one. If we do get a 4-hour shift of structure, 4-hour pullback and engulfing, let's see. What the lower time frames look like here. So yeah, exactly what I want to see. 30-minute time frame trading underneath, then we break above, we retest. Not only did we break above the 30-minute EMA, but we went bullish on the 4-hour time frame, pulled back, broke above, had a nice push up. This is where you buy, stop loss underneath, and then the rest is history. Okay, so that's exactly what I would be paying attention to. Now, if we go back to where we are right now, what are we doing? Trading underneath the 30-minute EMA. If we get a 4-hour structure shift above and then a pullback, then we can take our buys with the higher time frames. Okay. AUD JPY. My ear is ringing. AUD JPY. 30-minute time frame. Or gosh, this call is getting long. Weekly time frames bullish above the EMA. Daily time frames bullish. We've just reached the high, currently at the higher high, so not interested. We did have the nice pullback into the area of interest as expected, and now price is just having the continuation. Nothing much for us to trade here. AUD NZD. Wow, price played out exactly the way we wanted it to. Weekly time frame is bullish from here up to here. We had a pullback. Daily time frame is bullish from here to here. We're about to break above that and close above that. 4-hour time frame did what? It went bearish, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. We broke above. We went bullish right here. So we broke above all of this mess here, went bullish, had a pullback above the EMA, which is nice to see. And then we had that continuation. So price could have wicked us out. Realistically, it would have almost done that, but then it actually ended up hitting for the 1 to 2 as I explained yesterday. And yeah, that would have been a fantastic trade. If you were concerned about the entry, you could have entered after this 4-hour bullish engulfing, and then your stop loss would have been even better. I mean, your risk to reward would have increased by 30%. So not bad. What do we expect to happen now? Pull back into previous structure, into maybe these structures, and then have a continuation. Or if we just break above, then all I'd wait for is a pullback into this structure to have the continuation that way. Okay. Euro CHF. Euro CHF. Price has finally reached the area where I was interested in taking a trade from. Unfortunately, I think we pulled back a little bit too aggressively. Monthly time frame is bearish. We're still trying to create that lower low on the monthly. Weekly time frame is very bearish. We had a weekly doji last week. This week is having a pullback into all of this structure here. Now, ideally, I think we would create a little bit of a bigger zone for our area of interest. So we have 1, 2, 3 structure points here, a bunch of wicks in between. So we're inside of the area of interest that we want to be inside of. All that's left now is to wait for the confirmation. Now, can we find a scenario where price has done something similar? I think this could be in kind of a similar scenario where we're below, kind of below, we break above, retest above, and then buy aggressively. And next thing you know is we're trading back underneath. So that's what I'd like to see. Price react, have a pullback, react downwards, have a pullback, react downwards, and just for sellers to take over and kind of press price down. And then my entry would be in a position like this, stop loss above the wicks, and then targeting here it would be targeting the lows. I guess it would make sense for price to try to sweep these lows before having any kind of reaction to the upside. So that's all we're waiting for. This could take many hours. I mean, it's take multiple days probably to do, but I will keep an eye on it just in case something happens. All right. Where were we? We talked about this. GBP CAD. GBP CAD has finally broken out of this mess. We're going to close with a bearish engulfing candle, or just a bearish candle in general. We broke out of this little wedge. We retested on the daily time frame. So we had the break underneath the EMA. We had the retest. And I basically said two things could happen. One is we're going to end up back inside of this mess, back inside trading upwards. Or two, since we broke below the EMA, we retested the EMA and then we sold. That's exactly what happened. We're underneath the 4-hour EMA. We're underneath the daily EMA. We retested, engulfed, and sold. Your entry could have been after this engulfing 4-hour candle, stop loss right there, and you're already at a 1 to 3. So decent trade overall. Not one that I expected to take because the weekly time frame was bullish, and at the time the daily time frame was also bullish. However, as soon as we closed below, the daily time frame went bearish and the 4-hour time frame went bearish as well. So I guess that is one that we missed out on and are currently going to be waiting on a pullback. Okay, well, here's the thing. I'm probably not going to be taking sells. I mean, we're realistically at the limit of where price is going to be reaching. I don't think that we're going to break through this EMA, although we could. I don't think that we will. So in our case, all we need to wait for is the 4-hour time frame to shift bullish, which could take a while. We'd have to break above this area right here. But let's say for some reason we create a head and shoulders pattern right here. By that time, the EMA will have caught up. So the EMA will be right here. And then we'll break above. We'll retest previous structure. EMA will swoop underneath. And then price will then recover, reacting from the weekly time frame EMA. And the daily time frame will still be bearish. The EMA will probably only be like right here. But at that point, that's when price pushes up, reacts from the daily EMA, pushes down, reacts from the 4-hour EMA, and then pushes back up, okay? That's how price action works. I mean, it's literally like a little puzzle. And at a certain point, you get to, you fill in all the pieces and it makes sense. GBP CAD, yeah, so that's exactly what I'll be waiting for realistically is the reaction to then buy. AUD CAD. AUD CAD weekly time frame is bullish. Yeah, weekly time frame is bullish. Daily time frame is bearish as of right now, but if we close like we are, then we'll be bullish. You can delete all of this stuff here. That one can probably stay. We never made it down to that previous structure. We're starting to have the reaction to the upside. Daily time frame will go bullish, 4-hour time frame. is currently trading up. What I would wait for is a potential pullback into this area of interest right here. If price makes it down to here, then we could take buys off of the 4-hour EMA in confluence with the daily time frame, which will go bullish, the weekly time frame, which is already bullish, and the 4-hour time frame, which will be bearish, I think, if we don't break above this point, but we might. So it might look like this: push up, pull back, and then buy. And that would be the best case scenario for us. So switching this to buys, NZD CAD. NZD CAD weekly time frame is bearish. Daily time frame is bearish, and okay. Yeah, anyways. AUD CAD. Let me look at that. I might have misread it. I see what you're saying right here. And that's what I considered, but I don't like using these type of pullbacks as an elbow. But I think that, see, this is why I went back when you guys saw me look at NZD CAD. I was like, wait a minute. How am I taking buys on AUD CAD when I'm looking for sells on AUD USD? And I'm looking for sells on NZD USD, and I'm looking for sells on NZD CAD. There's all basically the same pair. They all move very, very similarly. So if I'm looking for sells on NZD USD, and I'm looking for sells on AUD USD, which is somewhere around here too. I swear I can never find one pair. AUD USD. Oh, I don't have AUD USD. Why do I not have AUD USD? I guess I deleted it. Or maybe, no, that's not true. Anyways, yeah, that's weird. Anyways, weekly time frame on this is bearish. Daily time frame is bearish. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw this next to that. I guess you could consider the weekly time frame here to be bull or to be bearish, but I don't like the fact that we're above the EMA here and we're above the EMA here, whereas here we're underneath the EMA and here we're underneath the EMA. You see what I'm saying? So one of two things could happen. We're actually going to have a much deeper pullback, like way, way deeper, maybe into this structure here. And then we're going to sell, which would make sense if we're talking about AUD CAD. For AUD CAD or NZD CAD, that would look like a much deeper pullback here as well. AUD USD, it would make a higher high above the EMA, and AUD CAD, it would make a higher high above the EMA. So those are options that we have to weigh. But as of right now, I'm just looking purely at market structure and at the EMAs. That's all I really do is trade those two things. So I guess if we're talking about this being bearish, then yes, the weekly time frame is bearish, daily time frame is bearish, and the 4-hour time frame is still bearish. That means that right now is like the best time to enter because it literally can't go any higher, but it can. You know, it can and it probably will. If I was you, what I would wait for is I'd wait for a proper break of the 1-hour EMA. Like I'd wait for a break and retest of the 1-hour EMA or the 30-minute EMA, whichever you think looks cleaner. And then that would give you your answer. Because right now it looks like price might just be reacting and then continuing to push up. As soon as price breaks, like as soon as price closes above this daily time frame, then that's it. You know, then we're just going to continue to push higher. Then the daily time frame, like the worst, what might happen. Okay, let me explain this. As soon as we close above this, we're going to have to create a higher low. Okay, so that would mean we just created the higher high. then we have to create the higher low, which will probably be all of this stuff right here. And then we'll have the continuation to the upside. Now, what that would look like on NZD, that would look like a continuation to the downside, because the sellers are much easier, or are having a much easier time with the NZD than they are with the AUD right now. So those are two things that could happen. Obviously, anything can happen, but that's where I'm at right now. That's what I'm thinking. Um, and we could easily be in a situation like this where we're just trading upwards, and next thing you know, we're back underneath. We're trading upwards. Next thing you know, we sell aggressively. We're back underneath, and we continue to sell. And then that would be a good. There's a heap of red. Yeah, honestly, yeah, that could be it. If we see a huge candle to the upside like this, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen. We're going to have a nice pullback back into previous structure, and then we're just going to continue to buy. Or if we see a huge candle to the downside like this, then that answers all those questions as well. Huge candle to the downside, pullback, and then we continue to sell. Okay. So those are, I mean, news to me are my favorite things. I don't have to, they answer all the questions that I have, because you have the huge push, price trades super inefficiently. It has to have a pullback, and then it will have a continuation. Like, there's no question about it. Super easy. That's why we were able to catch. That's why we were able to. Why are these? That's why they were in the wrong ears. They kept falling out. That's why we were able to catch CAD JPY. We had this news event push price up, then we had a super nice pullback, and then we just caught the move on the way up. I'm still salty that I didn't hold this all the way to here. That would have been full take profit, 7.3%. We only got 2 out of it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Right now, we're in a position where anything can happen on the CAD pairs and on the USD pairs. I think we have a bunch of USD news as well. Yeah, USD tonight, or for me, it's tonight. It's at 2 and 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, and a bunch of CAD news as well in the next 20 minutes. So depending on how quickly this call ends, we might be sitting through that together. Anyways, now that we've gone over all of those, realistically, I'm just going to stay away from them until tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll have all the answers to our questions, whether it's going to go up, whether it's going to go down. But as of right now, as things stand, for me, this is bullish. Daily time frame, currently bearish, and 4-hour time frame, currently bearish. So I guess the sells are the best option until the daily time frame closes bullish. At that point, the buys will be the best option. AUD USD weekly time frame, currently bearish. Daily time frame, currently bearish. 4-hour time frame, currently bullish. So 2 out of 3 time frames are bullish. Best option is currently buys. Sells. 2 time frames are currently bearish, so best option is currently sells. On AUD USD, NZD CAD, weekly time frames bearish, daily time frames bearish, and 4-hour time frame is currently trading sideways, but it is currently bullish from right here all the way up to here. And now we're having a pullback, but we never closed below this structure point. So we have 2 out of 3 time frames in sync to buy or to sell. This 4-hour time frame is all that's left. Now we have news. We have the CAD news. We have whatever other news. Price could open and just push directly downwards, giving us 0 trade opportunities. Now, this has happened before. This right here, a trade that I took last week or 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks ago, was a very aggressive move to the downside and had a news event right here. So we entered. Let's zoom in a little bit. We entered. and one 1 minute candle. I mean, if I zoom in, it's a 5 minute candle, but this was a 1 minute candle that pushed price all the way to take profit. Okay. What happened after that? Price retraced all the way back to entry. We could have gotten two trades out of one. Um, and that's what's going to happen now. If price sells really aggressively right now, say we get one huge candle like this, all we wait for today or tomorrow is price to slowly pull back because it's going to. It's going to fill in all this empty space, maybe all the way back up to entry. And then we're going to get the entry signal, which is a shift. And then we're going to get an engulfing candle. And then this is where you enter your trade. The same exact thing, stop loss right there, take profit. Whoops. Take profit right there, a 1 to 2. Pretty simple, pretty easy. No need to try to predict the news. The news will tell us what it wants to do, and then it'll give us an entry a little bit later. We just have to be patient for it. Okay. AUD CAD, AUD USD, NZD. So yeah, we talked about all of this, same exact thing. If news shoots us down to here, we wait for the pullback and then we take the trade down. Finally, on to the last two pairs, which are GBP AUD and Euro AUD. Okay. Both of which are currently selling quite nicely. We are currently bullish on the weekly time frame. We are currently bearish on the daily time frame. We never had the pullback into previous structure. We never had a lower high on the daily time frame. So that could be the next step for price, is to find an area to pull back to. Weekly time frame. There is a bit of a weekly area of interest right here. That is not an area of interest. Okay, there's not much of an area of interest. There's more of a daily area of interest here. And even that's not the prettiest. We'll call it that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, a couple wicks, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would just wait for price to pull back to continue to sell. Obviously, the pullback probably won't happen that clean. Weekly time frame has broken below the EMA, so it might actually do that. It might actually pull back straight into the weekly time frame now that we've broken underneath, pull back into the daily EMA, weekly time frame, into the weekly EMA, sorry. And then the 4-hour time frame will also have a pullback, probably, something like this, pretty choppy, whatever. And then finally, 4-hour shift to structure, even though it's already bearish. And then we have the continuation to the downside. That's what I would expect from GBP AUD. Euro AUD, weekly time frame is currently bullish, very bullish. Daily time frame is underneath the EMA now. And if we close as is, then we will be bearish on the daily time frame, and we will be bearish on the 4-hour time frame, or we are bearish on the 4-hour time frame, excuse me. And all we have to wait for is a pullback to here to continue to sell. Daily time frame pullback into area of interest. We can delete this. We can delete this. And we have our area of interest. We have our pullback. So we have lower low, lower high, next lower low to the downside. And hopefully by the time that happens, the EMA will catch up and then push price lower. Okay. And that's basically it. I mean, yeah, let's kind of run through and see what we're expecting to happen. AUD, USD. So yeah, this one's bearish. Retested the EMA, pushing up. Daily time frame still bearish. I'm gonna delete this, delete this. That was a loss. Yeah, that was a loss we took. And then price reacted, slowed down, turned around, broke above the EMA, retested, broke above, retested, and then bought, broke above area of interest, retested area of interest, and bought. did the exact same thing right here. Sold aggressively, pulled back, sold aggressively, bought aggressively, pulled back, bought aggressively. So it mirrored itself. Now we are in an area of reversal, and we probably will continue to push higher. But if price does pull back, it would be nice to see it pull back into the daily EMA and have the continuation to the upside, potentially creating a head and shoulders pattern on the daily time frame. That would be fantastic before we can continue to take buys. As of right now, weekly time frame is bearish, daily time frame is bearish, and 4-hour time frame is bullish. If we want to take sells, then I would wait for the sells to happen as soon as we break underneath the 4-hour EMA, retest, sell. That would be the best option. Break underneath, retest, sell. Other than that, I'm not really interested. But yes, that basically wraps everything up. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.